in black ski masks who are committing acts of violence, who are shutting down a government building. To the president's point, they don't come from nowhere. These are paid people. This is organized. They're committing acts of political terrorism on American soil. And it's time we had a government that looked out for the American people rather than the people who are committing violence against the American people.
Well, the vice president is presumably talking about the ICE office in Portland, where protesters have been out for months, sometimes clashing with federal officers.
When you go out to Portland and you see what's happening in Portland, this is like nobody's ever seen anything like it. Every night, and this has gone on for years. They just burned the place down, and you know the shop owners, most of them have left, but the few shops that are open, they just use plywood and just like 3/4 inch plywood. They don't put storefronts because they know it's going to be burned down.
Well, so far we have not heard of any shops being burned down by protesters at the ICE office. Trump claims that rich people are paying the protesters to be there, but he couldn't say who's paying them.
Well, Soros is a name certainly that I keep hearing. I don't know, but Soros is a name that I hear. I hear a lot of different names. I hear names of some pretty rich people that are radical left people. Maybe I hear about a guy named Reid Hoffman. Somebody's a pretty rich guy, I guess, and I hear about him. I don't know, maybe could be him, could be a lot of people. We hear the same names, but they're bad, and we're going to find out. And if they are funding these things, they're going to have some problems because they're agitators and they're anarchists. These are anarchists, really bad.
Now, the president has floated the idea of sending the National Guard out to Portland several times over the past month. And yesterday, he said that he's going to, quote, do a big number on Portland.
But take a look at Portland sometime. These are wild, these are crazy people, and they're trying to burn down buildings, including federal buildings. And on my list of things that I want to do before we finish up with the cities, because I think we're going to whip the cities back into shape, and we have to. We cannot let our cities, and that's a small example, but it's the most violent example. It's every night, and they've done it for years. You'd think maybe at some point they made their point, and what are they doing? But we're going to get out there, and we're going to do a pretty big number of those people in Portland that are doing that. They're professional agitators and anarchists. They're actually anarchists.
So it's important to note that violent crime has fallen in Portland during the first half of this year. Portland police say we had a 51% reduction in homicides versus last year, 17 people killed from January to June, as opposed to 35 people over the same time period last year. Overall, violent crime is down 17%. Aggravated assaults are down 18%, and robberies down by 10%. Well, members of Oregon's congressional delegation have jumped into the conversation as well. Yesterday, Oregon Representative Suzanne Bonamici set up a meeting at Portland's ICE office and invited Senators Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley, along with Representative Maxine Dexter. They say they took a tour of the building and then sat down with the head of the facility to talk about their policies and people from Portland who have been detained.
Our point is this. The president says he wants to remove violent, undocumented individuals. We're all down on that. But and what are we actually seeing? We're seeing a firefighter arrested while fighting a fire in Washington State. We're seeing a mother of 4 little children being held because she hugged her sister in the Peace Arch Park. We are seeing the use of expedited removal, which was a policy previously limited to a boundary near the border, and for a 2-week period now being used to deport people all over the country who have absolutely no criminal record at all. So when we pressed the regional coordinator of the field offices, and she covers Alaska, Washington, and Oregon, she said, no, we're hovering outside courtrooms only for people who have criminal accounts, if you will. That's simply not true. And when I pressed her on the expedited removal, she acknowledged that, yes, indeed, that is their instruction to use that everywhere they can.
Senator Wyden says he told officials at ICE that he wants to try to be constructive, but that he won't sit by when people's rights are being violated. Wyden says that when it comes to Portland, President Trump is exaggerating the situation with protesters at the ICE office.
Donald Trump is spreading this fable that Portland is so violent and so dangerous and there's so many, protesters. We just want to get the truth out and show the community that we're going to be doing everything to promote safety and avoid violence.
But when it comes to calls to close down the ICE office here, both senators said it could actually be better for detainees in the current situation if the office is kept open.
Well, if that facility is not there, it means that when ICE arrests people, they immediately go to Tacoma. Having a station here where they are detained for some hours maybe gives us a little more chance to weigh in and create pressure about unjust abuse of due process. And so on balance, there does give us a little more effort to press ICE.
Now, Representative Maxine Dexter was among the lawmakers touring Portland's ICE facility. Last week, she and other lawmakers held a hearing to highlight the story of a local mother and her children who were detained while returning from a trip to Canada. Our Stephanie Domerat had a chance to sit down with the Congresswoman this week for Straight Talk, and she asked why she has been so personally invested in cases like this. Dexter says she believes the Trump administration is going back on its promise to focus on criminals in its immigration crackdown.
There is no question we need immigration reform in this country. We need people who are legally in this country, able to work and following our laws, without question. Donald Trump's promise to be getting rid of criminals and drug trafficking, and that is not these families that we are tearing apart. So I absolutely believe that a balanced, bipartisan immigration reform policy needs to be passed. And in fact, there was one about to be passed. And Donald Trump and the Republican Party decided not to move that forward before the election. So we have made choices that have landed us in this position now where cruelty and family separation is the norm, rather than actually limiting people's ability to commit crimes and to be in our country illegally. We need easy pathways for people to get in here legitimately, and also we need to enforce our laws. And these are not laws being enforced. We're breaking the constitutional guarantees of due process.
Now, Stephanie also asked the Congresswoman about the looming threat of a government shutdown and about the White House's recent announcement linking acetaminophen use during pregnancy to autism. The full interview airs this Saturday and Sunday and again on Monday evening at 7, or you can watch it on your own schedule by downloading our free TV app, KGW+. Well, still to come on the story, a big tax increase in Washington has some small business owners stunned. They say they have to charge their customers more than 10% more. We'll explain who's impacted when the story returns. Welcome back to The Story on a Friday night. I'm Tim Gordon in for Blair. Well, people across Washington are being hit with new taxes and fees that many were not expecting. They impact everything from art classes to licenses, with small businesses bearing much of the burden. Eric Wilkinson explains.
This is believed to be the largest tax increase in Washington state history. It was signed into law by the governor back in May, but only now are businesses starting to feel it. The Shaw family started Creative Hands Art Studio 10 years ago out of their home. They say it's never felt like work until now.
We did not know about it till last week.
Effective October 1st, the couple must charge customers an additional 10.2% sales tax for their services. Under a new law, their pottery classes are now considered live presentations and are subject to the new tax, as are many other real-time courses and seminars.
Like, is this like for real? Like, we were not even able to accept that this is for real.
Things like security, advertising, and temporary staffing services are also impacted.
It's hitting everybody from small business to nonprofits, which is really unprecedented.
It's all part of a vast new $12 billion tax and fee package, one that many businesses are just hearing about, and one that has them very confused as to who has to pay and how much.
Folks don't realize that this is happening, and then there's a lot of ambiguity about what programs or services are actually taxable.
At the Pottery Studio, the 10% sales tax will be passed on to customers, and owner Wrinkle Shaw says she's already losing business.
It looks like there will be customers dropping down, dropping out.
For now, the Shaws are offering customers the chance to pay for classes in advance to avoid the sales tax. The rest is out of their hands.
I always pray that, everybody who helped us make this building, or all the students who are coming to us, everybody prospers in their life.
And there are penalties of up to 29% for businesses who do not collect this tax. Bottom line, if you run a small business or even a nonprofit, you'll need to talk with your accountant, the State Department of Revenue, or even your local Chamber of Commerce to make sure that you are in compliance. In Linwood, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
Well, in the fall season, the rental market slows down, and it's usually easier to find a place to live. Despite that, some Portland renters are feeling the squeeze as prices climb. Corey Johnson spoke with Zillow experts who say rising costs are forcing renters to make tough choices, from cutting back on extras to searching farther from downtown to rent compared to 5 years ago.
5 years ago, $1,500 meant choices, often a one-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood close to work or transit. Today, renters say that same budget feels like a compromise on their wallet, pushing them into smaller spaces or out of the city core altogether. For Portland resident John Kelly, how much he pays in rent each month is top of mind.
We've become rent slaves, and our disposable income has been taken from us, and it's not going back to anything.
Kelly has lived in Southeast Portland for the last 4 years in the same apartment. He tells KGW this year his rent will climb to $1,900, up from $1,300 he paid when he first moved in. The city's rental code allows landlords to raise rent by 10% a year without penalty. Renters like Kelly say that protection isn't doing much to ease the squeeze. Now he's relocating farther away from the city.
Between the utilities and the increase of the cost of the rent itself, you've basically made it so, like, if 10 years ago I bought a $300,000 home, for utilities and total mortgage, I wouldn't be paying as much as what I'm paying now.
In Portland, the average one-bedroom rents for about $1,530 a month, with an average size of about 645 square feet, according to Apartments.com. Pre-pandemic, that same $1,500 could have landed closer to 750 to 800 square feet. That extra footage enough for a small home office or living area that renters simply don't get now.
What we're seeing in Portland is that the typical rent is $1,730 a month. Now that's up 22% from prior to the pandemic. And the income that you need to be able to afford a rental in Portland is now more than $75,000. It was about $60,000 prior to the pandemic.
So why is this happening? Housing experts point to a mix of inflation, high demand, and slower wage growth that's contributing to the problem. Zillow Home Trends expert Amanda Pendleton tells KGW wages aren't increasing as quickly as rent prices. But there are a few ways you can still find the best bang for your buck if you're looking for your next rental.
We know that you're not going to have a lot of leverage to negotiate on the rent itself, but you can ask for a free month of rent or free parking or reduced pet fees. 45% of all rentals in the Portland metro area are offering some type of concession right now, so this is a pretty reasonable ask.
Zillow experts say stark rent increases like we're seeing here in Portland are impacting renters in other major cities as well. Nationwide, rent prices are actually up 35%, so the Rose City is doing a little bit better than the nation as a whole. Corey Johnson, KGW News.
Still ahead on the story when it comes to climate change and warmer weather, the way our homes are built can make a big difference. How a simple change to your roof can cool things down, and the effort to bring more of it to the Northwest. Welcome back. Even though the summer heat is mostly behind us, there are efforts around the country to try and reduce heat in neighborhoods with a simple solution: the color of the roof, using so-called cooler roofs. It's something the Northwest hasn't done much of yet, but meteorologist Leah Pizzetti with our Environment Northwest team shows us how one woman is working to change that.
You can imagine what it feels like without even touching it. Black pavement on a hot day.
We've all experienced black asphalt on hot summer days, and we know it's hot to the touch.
Climate scientist and advocate Katie Kaku points out this same pattern happens on any surface, including roofs.
A dark colored shingle actually absorbs the heat, and this has impacts both on your home and on the surrounding neighborhood.
Multiply that impact with every house in a city, the city as a whole then becomes hotter, creating what's called an urban heat island.
The urban heat island is a phenomenon that causes cities to experience temperatures as much as 15 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than the surrounding areas due to the built environment.
The color of a surface can drastically impact the temperature. This is called albedo, or how much a surface absorbs or reflects heat from sun's radiation. A dark surface has a low albedo, meaning it absorbs that radiation and typically ends up warmer. A light-colored surface has a high albedo, meaning it reflects that sun's radiation and ends up cooler. And Katie says pushing for more light-colored roofs would ultimately cool the temperature of your home and your neighborhood.
A city with lots of trees by the water, such as ballard or magnolia. If on a hot summer day, if that temperature hits 85 degrees, areas such as Renton or Auburn or Kent within the industrial corridor that has fewer trees and much more black surfaces, those regions can be 11 degrees warmer.
So she's on a mission, pushing for everyone to choose lighter colored roofing materials when building new homes or updating an old roof.
By changing the color choices slightly, we can make meaningful action and address the urban heat island effect and reduce temperatures of cities by as much as 2 degrees. I don't understand why such a simple action, there might be so much resistance to such a simple action.
So I asked a roofing expert why people would lean toward darker roofs.
Black's the most popular, I think, due to the aesthetic.
Mike Tappert, owner of Upper West Exteriors, says people choose dark for the appearance, but if they wanted to choose a lighter shingle to lower temperatures, it's easy.
The actual cost difference isn't very much, but people just kind of assume it's going to be way more expensive.
The install is the same, so it's a simple fix for consumers for a positive change.
It's kind of a logical conclusion to come to that, like if you're wearing a black t-shirt outside, you feel warmer versus wearing a nice light white t-shirt in the sun, you're going to feel a little bit cooler. So it makes sense that it applied to rooftops also, which are going to be a huge square footage impact of that heat absorption from the sun.
A handful of cities have created ordinances for industrial buildings to put lighter roofs. And this year, Atlanta actually passed a bold new law requiring every new roof, industrial and residential, to follow standards that will lower temperatures between 2 to more than 6 degrees. Katie would like to see similar standards for new builds in the Northwest.
This is a change we can implement right now, like just simply by mandating more reflective surfaces, higher albedo building materials. We can make meaningful action right now, and it's so easy.
For Environment Northwest, I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti.
You know, mushroom foraging is a popular activity in the Northwest, and this weekend, Stevenson, Washington is hosting a festival for novices and well-cultivated collectors. John Goodwin has a look.
Any opportunity to just get out in the woods, especially on a beautiful day like today.
The beautiful thing about the Pacific Northwest is you don't have to go far to find treasure.
Gotta remember where that spot is that we found yesterday.
I know where it is.
You do? Okay.
It was by the Pokies. That looks like the spot right there.
I think that's it.
Yeah, look.
We haven't got a ton of rain, so there isn't a lot right now.
In Skamania County, Dina Grinstead has made mushroom foraging her hobby for almost a decade.
He said it's like a treasure hunt. We either dry them or we cook them, make soup.
So we just like look around on the floor.
Right now it's chanterelle season, lobster mushrooms, boletes.
With all her experience, Dina yields the floor to her 8-year-old son, Felix. Besides being a fun guy, he really knows his stuff.
Did you know there can be mushroom worms? They eat mushrooms and make them moldy.
He loves it so much and he's so excited. When's mushroom season? When's mushroom season?
My favorite part about it is having fun in the forest and it's all quiet. And I like finding the mushrooms. This one's definitely a chanterelle.
He's got a pretty good eye, that one. You looking over there, buddy?
Yeah.
All right.
Felix is so inspiring and so adorable.
Friend Tabitha Wiggins is also a mushroom enthusiast.
I would say I'm a blossoming enthusiast.
For the second year in a row, Tabitha is coordinating this weekend's Stevenson Mushroom Festival.
Inaugural year was a great success. We had a lot of fun. It sold out. So we decided to do it again.
The festival kicks off Friday, September 26th with a mushroom gala at the Columbia Gorge Museum for guests 21 and older. On Saturday is the family-friendly Mushroom Hunt Passport Adventure. There are 19 locations across town with special stamps for your passport.
We have a mushroom trail that we're not telling anyone about. We're just saying in the forest. There we go. Nice chamois. This is our 5th one. More. That's crazy. Whoa. Those were beautiful.
People are just fanatic about mushrooms, and so we just wanted to create something that would celebrate that and do something that was family friendly, something that people could get out in the shoulder season. Also to inspire people to come out and explore Stevenson itself and all that it has to offer.
If you're thinking about foraging, it's easy to get lost out here, so make sure you're prepared and know how to navigate. Take it from Felix, who won't disclose his secret foraging spot.
I'm not going to tell you where I am, but I'm Felix, and let's get out there.
I love that. Love Felix. What a great story. I got to go mushrooming. I really want to do that mushroom foraging, hunting. Going to make Matt Zaffino take me sometime. And I'll take him fishing. All right, that's the end of our show. Thanks a lot for watching. And remember, if you ever miss an episode of The Story at 6:30, we re-air the episode at 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. over on our TV app, KGW+. It will also be airing there the next day at 11:30 a.m. Also, you can download the free KGW+ app right now. It's on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. All right, have a great night, everybody, and a really good weekend, too. We'll see you soon.